Every new gardener makes mistakes. Like planting mint and geraniums together in a window box. Who knew that mint bullies everything in its path? Or choosing the perfect planting spot in early spring, only to see it covered in shade after the trees leaf out. Don't be discouraged. You can enjoy growing your own food without getting frustrated. I have compiled a list of 8 common mistakes that new gardeners, and at times even those who have been into gardening for few years, also tend to do. Before moving on further, if you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe, so that it would motivate me to make more such videos. Moving on to the video. Mistake number 1. Planting too much. After spending the winter creating elaborate gardening Pinterest boards, thumbing through seed catalogs, and dreaming of fresh veggie flavor, it's easy to overestimate how big your garden should be, and underestimate the time and effort it will take to care for it. Experienced gardeners know that a big garden equals a big commitment, one that's too much for most new gardeners. Do this instead. Start small. If you're a total newbie to gardening, make a list of your 5 favorite vegetables and herbs. Then take a little time to research their growing needs before you buy them. Add a few more plants and a bit more growing space each year, and before you know it, you'll have plenty of homegrown produce to share. Mistake number 2. Planting too soon, or too late. One of the biggest mistakes new gardeners make can be chalked up to cabin fever. On the first warm day after being cooped up inside all winter, you head straight outside and plant a row of tomatoes, and then nighttime temperatures plummet back below freezing and you lose them all. On the other hand, you don't want to wait too long to plant either. Planting when it's already hot can stress plants and require a lot more effort from you to get them to harvest. Do this instead. First, find out your region's estimated first and last frost dates, then use those dates as a guide to when to start your garden. Mistake number 3. Planting in just any old soil. Soil provides the foundation for a successful garden, so it needs to be rich and filled with nutrients. Bad soil is like junk food for plants, and they won't grow and thrive if they're stuck in it, just like you wouldn't do well if all you ate were potato chips. Do this instead. Before planting, improve your in-ground soil with nutrient-rich garden soil, which helps protect against both under and overwatering. If you're growing in containers, you'll need a lighter weight soil with excellent drainage. Mistake number 4. Planting where there's not enough sun. You may love tomatoes, but if you don't have a spot that gets at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight, you won't have much luck growing them. It's a basic, and sometimes frustrating, fact of gardening. You'll waste time, money, and effort trying to grow sun-loving plants in shady spaces. Do this instead. If your yard is on the shady side, consider growing sun-loving plants in containers and placing them in whatever sunny patch is available. Whether that's a patio, balcony, or driveway, just use as many pots as you need to create the garden you want. Another option is to choose vegetables and herbs that tolerate partial shade, like lettuce, kale, Swiss chard, spinach, parsley, and thyme. Mistake number 5. Crowding your plants. As a new gardener, it's tempting to try to grow lots of plants in your garden to maximize your harvest, and besides, those little plants look so lonely with no friends around them. Here's the thing, though, small plants will grow bigger, and as they do, they're going to need more space. Too many plants crowded in a small area means they're going to have to compete for water and nutrients, jeopardizing the health of the entire garden. Plus, if there isn't enough air circulation between plants, any diseases that come along will have an easier time spreading. Mistake number 6. Not feeding your plants. When you're starting out, it's easy to forget that plants need food too. Sure, if you improve the soil at planting time, your garden will have good nutrition to start. But even the best soil will eventually run short of nutrients to feed your hungry plants if you don't replace them. Do this instead. Well-fed plants grow stronger and provide better harvests. So feed yours regularly with plant food specially designed for veggies and herbs. I will also make a separate video on the various homemade plant feeds that can be easily made at home. Mistake number 7. Forgetting to harvest. When you're a beginner gardener, it can be tricky to know when your plants are ready to harvest, and if you wait too long, you could end up with an overgrown yellow cucumber or basil that starts to flower and turn bitter. It can be a challenge, too, to know when to pick colorful veggies that branch beyond the standard green pepper or red tomato. Do this instead. Be sure to walk your garden every day. Just 24 hours can be the difference between a zucchini at the peak of perfection and one that's the size and consistency of a baseball bat. Now that you know what sorts of mistakes garden newbies tend to make, you'll have a much better chance of avoiding them, even if you're technically a beginner yourself. So get out there and have fun growing a beautiful, delicious first garden.